What is going on, everybody? Today I wanted to go over Matthew Stafford's throwing mechanics, one of the best throwers in NFL history, coming off an NFL MVP, and I think there's something that's improved so much over time, and I think it's something that a lot of young quarterbacks can learn from. So when he goes to throw, feet are still shoulder width apart, and this is what we'd call our base, right? Athletic position, knees bent, feet shoulder width apart, two hands on the football. All of those are checked off here by Matthew Stafford. Then what we're going to do next is we're going to coil, right, which is ultimately pulling the ball back. And we're pulling this ball back to an L position right here so that we can ultimately create whip on the football and create hip to shoulder disassociation by bringing the ball back and our hips through. But something else that's really important, I want you to see the midline of this foot and how it's lined up with his target right here. And he also steps towards his target and closes off this foot just a little bit to not allow himself to over rotate, right? That's something that's really important when you're talking about quarterbacking. And then here we're going to have a stretch. And the reason this is called a stretch is because we're ultimately creating this whip effect on the football where we've brought our hips through, right? We're creating hip to shoulder disassociation. We've brought the ball back. You see how his arm is almost completely level or straight with his shoulder right here, and that does two things for us. It allows us to get on top of and control the nose of the football, but it also allows us to get this elbow even with the shoulders, which will allow him to get to full extension and get the maximum amount of velocity on the football. So take note of that as well, because right after this, we're going to see his release. And what does he do? He gets to full extension. His head doesn't move, so we know he's rotating around his spine. His shoulders stay pretty level. They're a little bit turned because of just the depth of the pass here, but that's okay for the most part because his head is able to stay on a line and we're not leaning and falling off balance, right? So he's in control, on balance. If you look at this back foot, it's going to drag instead of whipping all the way around here, almost as if he's losing control. So he's in control of his throw. And then as soon as he releases it, his finish, you see those same shoulders are pretty level. Head did not move at all, so we can draw a T across his back. That's exactly what we want. And then instead of staring at the football, he's staring at his receiver, which allows the football to ultimately go exactly where he wants it to go because he's not going to over-rotate or stop his throwing motion by stopping and staring at the football. Something else that's really difficult to see here is that he also flicks that hand down and puts it towards his left pocket, which helps him create that spiral on the football. Those are great mechanics there by Matthew Stafford. It's no surprise someone with his arm talent and these type of mechanics can win NFL MVP.